The bargaining process for our new agreement began internally over a year ago and continued in hard-fought negotiations that spanned over 4 months before a deal was finally struck. When our demands were not met, we repeatedly broke off negotiations and applied additional pressure by bargaining right up against the July 31st deadline. Our resolve paid off. Without making any concessions, we were able to make significant gains in all of our core issues, including areas that we've been unsuccessfully proposing for decades. 12 locals already support this contract. To fully appreciate the strengths of our new contract, it is important to first understand the way our benefits work. Our benefits are funded by several sources of income. Employer contributions, residuals, and our own investments all fund our benefit plans, and we never rely on any one source of income. Here's where that money goes. First, our pension plan is fully funded by both residual and hourly employer contributions. The hourly contributions also flow directly into retiree and active healthcare plans. Once the pension plan has been funded, the remaining residual contributions spill over into both healthcare plans. After all 3 plans are covered, the remaining funds overflow into our health plan reserves, where they stay. Do we have enough funding to secure all of our benefits? The short answer is yes, we are financially sound. Let's break it down starting with residuals, which account for about 20% of our total income. This chart shows how much residual income we need each year to fund pensions over a 3-year period. And here is a conservative estimate of our residual income for those same 3 years. In addition to basing our analysis on conservative projections, we also requested the opinion of neutral, third-party actuaries, who sent us back a detailed report of their objective findings. The actuaries' projections affirmed that income from residuals will be more than enough to both cover our pensions and overflow into our 2 health plans. Current residual contributions for the first 6 months of 2018 are already $31 million higher than 2017. This figure includes a 28% increase in new media residuals, as shown in yellow. Since 2009, new media has been a significant source of residual funding that has steadily grown every year. Now let's look at employer-paid hourly contributions and whether this income will be enough to fund our benefits as planned. Employer contributions account for about 41% of our benefit funding, as shown in blue. And once again, this income secures our benefits. Since 2010, our projected work hours, shown in gray, have been consistently exceeded by our actual work hours, represented here in yellow. So far in 2018, our work hours are already well on track to surpass 2017. But even if employment hours remain at the 2017 levels for the next 3 years, we will still outperform our projections by more than $30 million a year. Nevertheless, we continue to err on the side of caution, basing all of our planning on conservative projections of work hours. Beyond the number of hours, our new contract brings a substantial increase in employer contributions. We achieved this by creating different contribution rates. Companies that pay residuals of less than $15 million will now contribute an additional 75 cents per hour in each year of the agreement. And companies that have paid over $15 million of residuals into your benefit fund will contribute an additional 40 cents per hour over the life of the contract. This increase in employer contributions will result in an additional $153 million in hourly contributions to our benefit plans. Because our 10% pension increase is tied to having 8 months of reserves in both health plans, this influx of funds will bolster our reserves enough to provide pension increases and still cover all active and retiree health benefits for 10 and 8 months respectively. Also, those who retired prior to 2009 will receive their 13th and 14th pension checks. The bottom line is that our new contract provides enough funding to secure the pension and health plans with absolutely no increase in costs to our participants. It is all funded by employers. Let's discuss additional aspects of our contract. In each year of our new agreement, wages will increase by 3%, for a compounded total of 9.3% by the 3rd year of the agreement. By comparison, other industry unions and guilds received a lesser wage increase. Our annual 3% increase means we will see a boost of approximately $750 million in additional wages over the term of the contract. We were also able to gain a completely new source of funding stemming from feature-length streaming content. Live-action features budgeted over $30 million will bring in lump sum payments equal to 5.4% of payroll, while animated features budgeted over $45 million will pay 3.6% of payroll. Projected to produce between $5 and $12 million in annual contributions, this increase is not built into our benefit funds projections or budgets in any way. Like a bonus, this is purely additional money, and none of our plans depend upon it at all. We have also made significant improvements that impact our safety. We have expanded protections when advocating on behalf of others and secured mandatory rides or rooms after 14 hours in the 30-mile zone and in production centers across the country, and after 12 hours in the LA secondary zone. After decades of trying, we have finally made a massive stride forward in improving rest period provisions. It was a hard fight, but ultimately we triumphed, ensuring that all existing violation penalties remain intact and unchanged, but also establishing new penalties and protections that will mean a 1 or 2 hour rest period improvement for the majority of employees. In the new media space, we eliminated the new media roster, established that the terms of the full basic agreement will apply to streaming features with budgets over $30 million, and also added provisions for mid-budget subscription video on demand productions, like those made for Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and other pay services. We are the first union to negotiate wage minimums and fixed terms and conditions for streaming series and features in the mid-budget range. Previously, if a show's budget is too low to be considered a high-budget new media production, everything except benefit contributions were individually negotiated between the employee and the producers. Under the new contract, this will no longer be the case, since wages, terms, and conditions will now be clearly laid out for these streaming productions. Additional gains include a $5 per hour increase for CSATF safety classes and a longer window to complete contract services training, access to safety training for those outside of LA, a commitment to examine the possibility of creating a 401k benefit, and a guarantee of detailed advance notification about productions. Of particular importance is a change for on-call employees who work 6th and 7th days. They will see an increased benefit contribution of 12 hours per day. This net gain of an additional 9 hours of benefits for any 7-day work week will significantly enrich these members' pensions and strengthen their ability to qualify for health benefits. It is important to know we were successfully able to block a long wish list of producer proposals. Some of the most egregious changes that producers tried and failed to achieve include eliminating the 10% pension increase that we negotiated in our last contract, trying to reduce existing rest period penalties, pushing for French hours without a crew vote, treating distant hires as locals when relocated, and attempting to expand the use of side letters in the new contract, and eliminating the remaining night premiums. The producers did get a few minor adjustments. We allowed them to include a small portion of Huntington Beach in the secondary zone, a limited option to swap 2 specific Canadian holidays with advance notice when working in Canada, recognize new delivery methods such as over-the-top and virtual MVPD services, and keep subscriber base levels consistent with other unions and guilds. There were also a handful of mutual benefits that both sides wanted. These include increasing employer funding of contract services training, renewal of industry experience roster safety requirements, creating a diversity and inclusion task force, and applying standard roster requirements to O1-O2 visa holders. In many ways, we have made more short and long-term gains in this contract than ever before. But none of this will take effect until it is ratified. With 43,000 members affected, it is important that our members are accurately informed about the basic agreement before voting on the question of ratification. All voting members will receive a packet with a copy of the contract, a summary of the agreement, and a ballot to cast their vote for or against the deal we were able to negotiate. Each local union will conduct its own ratification vote. While the IA and 12 of the West Coast Studio Local Union Bargaining Committees are already united in their recommendation to ratify this agreement, it is important that all members vote so their voices can be heard. A no vote is a vote to authorize a strike. It is a rejection of the entire agreement and means we have no deal and will continue to work under the terms and conditions of our current expired agreement. It also means that we could lose the improvements and retroactive wage and benefit payments that we were able to negotiate. A no vote also means that there is no requirement for either side to make any concessions from their current position. The employer could lock us out. At that point, we could take their offer or strike. A yes vote means that the terms of our new agreement will be implemented. Wages and benefits will be retroactive to August 1st, and we can begin strategically preparing for our next negotiation in 2021. We hope this presentation demonstrates why the IATSE and 12 local unions stand together in solidarity, all recommending a yes vote. The new contract is overwhelmingly endorsed because it provides significant gains in all of our priority areas and improvements that have been unachievable for decades. It contains no reductions to existing benefits or working conditions and has no additional costs to members.